Good evening, everyone. It is 6 o'clock. This is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district business, and it's not to be considered a public community meeting. There is time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda below. And upon request to the superintendent, the district shall make reasonable accommodation for a person with disabilities to be able to participate in this meeting. Before we get started, I have a statement I'm going to make. We have heard from 3 amazing individuals throughout this process, and I know that they are all going to have a meaningful impact on students and the education in their communities. I'm not sure I highlighted this until Jennifer noted it last night, but none of our candidates received any of our interview questions in advance. The candidates we've been thinking about since last night each answered 36 questions over the course of 2.5 hours while thinking on their feet. And we took great care to ask questions that were meaningful. I personally have been comparing these individuals not only to each other, but to many other first and second round candidate interviews that I've watched from superintendent searches in district hours across the state. Not only have these educators been interviewing with us for the superintendent position over the last 2 weeks, but they have essentially been interviewing with the entire DCS community throughout their years in service here. The board holds all of our candidates in great esteem, and for this reason, I'm going to ask a favor of our guests tonight. It is the board's desire to contact our candidates by phone following this meeting to personally let them know the results of our discussion. I urge all of our guests to refrain from sending text messages to people who are not here, and most especially not to the candidates themselves. I would also ask that you please refrain from posting any decisions to social media until you receive an update from the district. The board does intend to send a search update announcement as soon as we are able, but it will be done after we have reached the candidates personally. Thank you for your help in allowing us to communicate respectfully and thoughtfully. Melanie, can you do the roll?
Mr. Albright.
Here.
Mr. Arnold. Mrs. Bruderly.
Here.
Mr. Sepola.
Here.
Ms. Kangas.
Here.
Mrs. Reiser.
Here.
Ms. O'Hara. Here. Ms. Beneteau.
Here.
Mr. Brand.
Okay, we have an agenda to approve.
I'll move that the Board of Ed approve the agenda as presented. I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye. Any opposed? We now have a period of time for public participation, and please note for efficiency, policy 2504 has been suspended for this meeting, and there will only be one opportunity for public participation. Would anyone like to address the board?
Just a quick comment, I feel a little bit let down by the board to the fact this was an internal process of home. I've heard many comments from the board and candidates at South Dexter is a destination location. Everybody wants to come to Dexter. So why not open it up to everybody? I mean, you tell me if I'm a superintendent sitting out there in the sidelines or in another school, and I look at Dexter just passed a $250 million bond issue. Wow, I'm excited. I can come here, I can put finances in place, I can do a lot. We have no idea, we could attract talent from other parts of the country, just not the state of Michigan. So I think the letdown, as you want to refer to them, is the community stakeholders. You know, because as we realize the biggest stakeholders in this whole process are the students. That's what we have to think of the first, but not open it to up to a nationwide search, I'll call it. I feel very let down because I feel we could have gotten fast line and maybe dragged some down. We don't even know what's out there. Because that's my comment, so.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, moving on to discussion. John reviewed with us last night our responsibility tonight, which is to all comment on who we would either like to select or to choose to continue to search. At this point in time, we are all being asked to select a single candidate. You can offer as much or as little information about why as you wish. I think at this point, a lot of our thinking is in bigger packages on the entirety of the information we have. So let's just get started. Would anyone like to volunteer to go first? Okay. Can you make sure the mic is on?
First, I want to thank again all the candidates for the place in these interview process. Ryan, lastly, Ryan Melanie, the second round interviews, and also the hard experience of keeping SIs in place in Michigan is very hard. Actually, anywhere. It's a very limited span. I also want to thank the
Can we pull it even closer to make sure it's?
the Dexter community for attending and all the input. We read close to 30 community sheets just last night alone from the second round of interviews. And I was really impressed with all the comments. These are all written in a professional, I would say nice way, whether you agree or disagree with the candidate. There was nothing, nothing mean spirited, which I truly appreciate. So at the end of the day, I think we have two great candidates with some similar, also some different strengths and areas. And he's built on all areas to improve on, we have weaknesses, so I'm not gonna compare anybody. But Ralph, I put a lie to Ryan Woodward as my recommendation, as the start, I think is presentation more focused and not that general, which leads me to believe he has some serious thought for the position. I like that Ryan has already taken some leadership roles across various levels in the administrative team. I've been in a difficult position on the Sex Education Advisory Board, which has allowed us to first-hand with diverse group of community members that will not agree on all things, but stay the job is still the public and the children. His work with the Bonding Facilities Committee, coupled with his experience in addition to Bates, will serve well in the state of line for the next several years. First 3 to 5 years are probably most critical. I believe he handled improvements while keeping the students at the center of his focus. I like to focus on using the other leaders in DCS and the DCS principals to work together, be positive. I also like when you answer the question regarding the less prominent sports and clubs, that you already had some ideas and said, and whether we build a curriculum, still doing or not. I kind of like that imagination leads to futuristic build us, so we're not stuck building, something else. It's only going to serve you need for today and the future. I appreciate that place on using data decision making to see trends quantitative versus qualitative. I appreciate the fact that some teachers may feel a loss of autonomy in the science and reading program, but it seems to see recognized it and what the metrics show both on higher students, which again is the focus of the superintendent. Also appreciate that the understanding of the role will be difficult. He does not know it all and need to learn more expertise. And overall, I appreciate his communication style. That you thank the Board of Education, for each round. I think it's a positive note when we're moving forward and communicating with the entire DCS district community, students, and Board of Education. I believe he does well, will do well, with the long term aside, Ryan continues to go to the team.
Thanks, Steve. Would anyone like to go next?
I'll go. Keep it on. All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Selecting the superintendent is one of the most critical responsibilities of the Board of Education. We know and we're all committed to identifying the right leader for Dexter Community Schools, and we recognize this process is multifaceted. It requires strategic planning, thorough evaluation, and a strong dedication to finding a leader who aligns with our district values and has the vision to guide our school system towards achieving its goals. We are, as a board, determined to make this process a success. I would like to recommend Ryan Bruder as my choice for Dexter's next superintendent. Ryan is a dedicated district leader who is deeply rooted in the local community. Having grown up in Dexter and graduating from Dexter Community Schools, Dexter has shaped him in significant ways to be the leader he is today. Speaking to Ryan's character, Ryan possesses unique qualities that make him exceptionally well suited for the role of superintendent. He maintains a student-centered leadership approach, which is evident in every interaction you have with him. The growth and well-being of students are always his top priority. He is humble, kind, and demonstrates empathy. I believe Ryan has skills that recognize how policy and decision-making impact various groups, including students, staff, and community members. He has the emotional intelligence to listen to and validate the concerns of each group, and he will create solutions that will lead to positive outcomes for everyone in our district. Conversely, I believe Ryan possesses the ability to face difficult decisions head on and evaluate issues objectively and with neutrality. In my experience with Ryan, he's often first to credit others, which is what good leaders do. He's also willing to take responsibility and be decisive when necessary. That's what great leaders do. Speaking to Ryan's experience, Ryan brings a wealth of experience to the role. He served as executive director of instruction for the past 4 years and spent 5 years as a principal, where he demonstrated impactful leadership at the administrative level. Additionally, Ryan has 7 years of classroom experiences, so he's been in the trenches. Throughout his career, he's consistently shown the commitment to student welfare and educational leadership. Most importantly, he believes in educating the whole child and valuing individual needs without sacrificing the collective good. He's well suited to take the torch from Dr. Timmis and continue to move the district forward. Speaking about financial management for a second, school finance must always be a consideration when making decisions. I believe Ryan understands this concept well. As a key district grant writer, he recognizes the importance of funding and education and how to maximize the impact of each dollar spent. Our 2025 bond projects, along with their associated workload, will represent a significant responsibility. I'm confident that Ryan possesses the organizational and communication skills necessary to manage these demands effectively. Building relationships, I recognize that he's recognized for his collaborative approach with building relationships, emphasizing leadership that value the input of all stakeholders. Humorously referring to himself as a better coach than player, he underscores the importance of listening to others and building teams. He understands that achieving consensus is essential to make long-term impact in the district. He strongly supports parental rights, but also acknowledges the responsibility that comes in public education, emphasizing the need for transparency, communication regarding decision-making. Additionally, Ryan advocates for the responsible use of technology in education. He's played a key role in the development of DD, the AI tool designed for students and teachers in Dexter, which showcases his ability to innovate in the field of education, his willingness to adapt to new concepts and create new opportunities, along with his attention to the needs of the district. These are all qualities that I found very important. I want to conclude by emphasizing how fortunate Dexter is to have leaders like Ryan Bruder in our district. His character and authenticity are rare in today's society. He's a strong and respected educator with extensive knowledge and a deep commitment to Dexter Community Schools. Given these fundamental attributes developed right here in Dexter, I believe Mr. Bruder will make an exceptional superintendent.
Thank you, Mike.
So echoing the thoughts of, we are so fortunate to have internal candidates this strong. And it really makes our decision a tough one. But again, we asked for this responsibility, so here we are. After such strong first and second interviews, I had to reflect on going back to the candidate profile, and both Ryan and Melanie they hit almost every single one of the 14 factors that we selected. And one of the things that emerged is both of them were very student-centered. Both of them said that they wanted this job to impact the district in a different way. They're both invested personally in the district, which speaks volumes to us wanting stability for this district as we move forward. And both seem to be very team reliant in a lot of their responses. So after hitting all the categories and having to step back and say, having similar touch points, where does somebody emerge a little stronger than the other? And that's where I found that I believe that Ryan had a little stronger of a profile. One of the things that I thought was exemplified last night, and this is why I would urge the board to select him as the superintendent, was his strong knowledge of the analytics. His example of using data for an effective and then cost saving decision really was really what the board is looking for, being very mindful and looking at the information that's in front of us, the data and that comes to us to make an informed decision and save money for the district. That was very helpful. I also believe that he has a deeper understanding of the superintendent role at this juncture. Frankly, his mention of the policy, I know that I'm the chair of the policy committee, but it is so integral in decision-making, and that the handbook having to be redone as a result of the policy overload that we're doing. It just showed that he has a very deep understanding of this role and in this community. And then I would echo what both Dan and Mike said as well. So for that reason, my selection would be Ryan Bruder. But both of the candidates were just simply amazing, and we're so fortunate to have them in the district.
Thank you. Anyone else like to go?
I would echo what the other trustees said, that we had excellent candidates. When I was elected to the school board, I knew Ryan Berger. He wasn't my children's principal, but I knew him because he was in the other elementary school. And when we first moved here, we went through the building of Beacon and Anchor. And so I did get to see him at work. And then meeting Barb Leonard, she was amazing, like an amazing HR director. And my son spent his first year in high school. And I think that Miss Nowak is like the bomb at the high school, right? She ran this amazing program to get these kids acclimated to what kind of career they want to go into. So I think that speaks to volumes, and I hope that to the question in the audience tonight and to others listening, you know why we wanted to look at internal candidates first, because we have such solid internal and candidates here that we had an obligation, a financial obligation to this community to look at those candidates first before even considering a national search that probably would have cost a lot of money. And so I think that all three of these candidates were very, very strong. We watched a first round of interview and then a second round of interviews. And when I listened to the interviews yesterday, I sort of thought, like, you're having someone you want to lead this district. And you want whole students coming from the district. You want not to just help the students that are athletes or that are musically inclined or really, really smart. You want to service every single student in this district. You want them to come to feel to school. You want them to feel safe. You want them to be educated. You want them to become productive citizens. And when I listened to Ryan Bruder's presentation yesterday and the letters of recommendation that came in and the feedback from the audience, like, to me, he is a person that I see carrying that educate, develop, inspire, that I see him leading our district as the next superintendent. He has the academic program knowledge, as the role that he holds right now. He was very knowledgeable in the budget. He recognized that one thing that we have to tackle as a community and a school is cell phone usage. I mean, it is changing, and it is doing everything to our kids, like in every realm that you could think of, mental health, the way that they communicate, the way that they write. So I really appreciated him recognizing that and wanting to reach out to the community to say, how are we going to address this and implement it and address it with our students? Because I think a lot of people don't realize how sort of addicted kids are becoming to electronics. So for me, someone that recognizes that and is ready to address that, and he also was important to me that I don't know it all. And he knows that he can lean on other leaders in this district to make those decisions, and he'll ask those questions. So for me, I think that Melanie was amazing. And I think that both candidates were amazing, but I would be moving to hire Mr. Bruder as our superintendent.
I can go first. So we have to, yes, we have to.
But after there's four, then that's a done deal.
So
Still want to hear.
Yeah. I will, I did not prepare the long presentation as some of my esteemed colleagues did. However, I am first of all, very honored to have participated in this process. Obviously, the only employee that we manage as a board is the superintendent. It's super important. It's vital that we choose a candidate that is qualified, that we feel confident to lead the district, that that has experience, and that we've done what we can in order to vet the field. So to the comment about not opening this up, we have heard that from some members of the community. The first rule of thumb in general in any organization is start internally. If there's somebody that qualifies, start there. I mean, the experience within the organization cannot be understated. It's really important, and that there's a huge value to having somebody that knows the system, that knows us, that we know. And as Elise very thoughtfully said, they've been, interviewing with us for years. So it's not that we're first meeting them. In addition, we have gone through trainings. There are many, many positions open throughout the state. And there are a few candidates that really qualify for a lot of these positions. And so we are confident in the advice that we've received and in the process that we pursued in terms of why we started internally. That said, we did not have to hire any of the candidates, and I echo what Trustee Riser said, that all three candidates are amazing, and that I was very impressed with the quality of the candidates, and surprised, to be honest, because we knew, well, I had assumed that Ryan would apply. I did not know who else would apply, and so it was nice to have some selection of such good candidates. I want to support Ryan. I will say that I really did like Melanie's presentation. I like the way she's very concise. I think that she is clear. I like the presentation in terms of the supporting documents. Many of the qualities were the same in terms of between student-centered. I think that they're both very student-centered. They both I just think that we would be lucky to have either candidate. I wholeheartedly support Ryan Bruder as our next superintendent. And I don't want to lose. So, yes.
Thank you. Claire, do you want to say anything? You are not obligated to, but we're happy to hear your comments if you have some.
I can say it.
Absolutely. Please.
Coming from a student, I would also like to support Ryan. I think, again, he was very student-centered, but what I especially thought was important is he noted a lot of very specific things that he wanted to do with students and really help the students become more involved in the decisions that are forming their education. And I like that he kind of highlighted the gaps that this district has and some of the gaps in learning that we currently have, and how he really does want to fix those gaps so that when I enter the workforce and all my fellow students enter the workforce, we do have the skill sets that we truly need. And him kind of focusing on those very specific things he might want to change and integrate for students was very important for me, and I think very important for a lot of students who are scared to kind of enter the real world, and seeing a superintendent who has a very clear vision for these students and understands that every student is different, every student has a different learning pace, and kind of understanding how to really make this work for all students, that we can get the best education possible. That was very touching and very.
Thank you so much. Echoing a lot of what was already said tonight, my choice is also to support Ryan Bruder to be superintendent. There were a number of points that he made in his presentation and our interview last night that I think will resonate with our community. A couple of them, just for a point of reference, is, talking about the community bond desires, and thinking about how our community prioritizes function over flashy. I also noted that he showed respect for parental rights and spoke of engaging with families around educational values. I particularly liked his intention around putting our money where our mouth is, and I feel like finances and showing priorities with our budget is something that we are all trained in all of our classes with. And regarding finances, you know, none of our candidates have been a superintendent before, so I wasn't looking for, I was looking for understanding and understanding of the different pieces that factor in. And I felt like over the course of the interviews, he was able to show us various pieces of that understanding. When it comes down to it, I think overall, there were larger factors that I considered. Insight, judgment, these are probably my personal top qualities for a leader to possess. And I thought that he showed solid insight in 2 different questions last night. You know, in talking about how, you know, each level of leadership becomes more isolating. I thought that truly showed thought about the job itself. And I also noted, like someone else said, that he recognizes that he doesn't know everything. And I think that's a valuable place to start. I noted the student-centered approach. I felt like he had really strong messaging skills in his presentation and his transition plans that we were able to read. And I like that we were able to see the high-level vision presentation that we asked for. And we were also able to see a really specific and thoughtful transition plan that I know was only provided to the board, but it really was very detailed. And particularly noteworthy for me were priorities around student and staff wellness and mental health, and also the retention of staff. I think in the end, where I settled is that this is the absolute hardest thing I've done on the board. And I joined the board in July of 2020 and went through COVID. And this is absolutely the hardest thing I've done. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. And I instead just thought about all of the comments that we've received, the enormous support for every candidate in our email box, and the concerns about every candidate in our email box. There is absolutely no one right person that we can pick for this job. But as a board, I just want to make the statement to our community that we are committed, we are here to provide support and guidance and leadership and a voice for our community. And we are going to continue to do that no matter who is sitting in our superintendent spot. So with that,
Well said.
thank you. With that, it sounds like we have consensus and we can move to action.
I'll move that the Board of Education appoint Ryan Bruder as superintendent of Dexter Community Schools starting March 1, 2026, subject to a mutually agreeable employment contract, and authorize board president Elise Bruderly and board legal counsel to discuss contract terms with Mr. Bruder, with the contract subject to board approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? We are going to do a roll call vote tonight.
Mr. Secola,
Aye.
Ms. Kangas. Aye. Mrs. Reiser.
Aye.
Mrs. Guerra. Aye. Mr. Albright.
Aye.
Mrs. Bruderly.
Aye. So with a unanimous vote, the board has taken action on this tonight. And I do just want to note for the community that Brian Arnold was not able to be here in person. And due to the way the state law is now written, he cannot make a virtual vote for the reason he is gone. So he would have otherwise.
Let's see what.
So with that, that is our final action item tonight. And so we will adjourn. Thank you very much to everyone for being part of this process.